Ta-da! You guys, it's Wednesday, but it's a Tuesday night show. It's Astrology and Alchemy and Astrology with Sarah, with Matt, with Sarah. We're on different sides tonight. And
oh yeah, let me change that.
No, it's okay. I dig it. I know that we are always usually broadcasting from an array of areas. We've got Odyssey Radio. We have the Paranormal Channel. We're probably going to be fine-tuning and funneling things into our really specific ways that you guys can get to know us better as we post more content. Quite honestly, I think that we're probably going to be trying to get to know our listeners a little better. It's been great to offer readings and work with you guys. So for you guys joining us live, and if you have been joining us live, please just sign up for our social media on Facebook and maybe even the Paranormal Sarah YouTube space so you can see all the cool stuff that we're going to be sharing. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to do my best to share this on Facebook really quickly. How are you doing, Matt?
I am doing great. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat because I got my different setup here as I'm still not mobile, but it's all good.
Your foot. You have a
4 weeks not weight bearing, so 4 weeks without being able to walk, and it did get infected. So now I'm like, but it's not bad. So we just gotta wait.
So hard to do. So hard to do. I can't even imagine. Knock on wood.
Oh, I want to do a shout out to Steve. I don't know if you saw, they were doing a spirit box, and they asked about the show last, and Matt came through really clear. It was awesome. I was still trying to figure out. I didn't know if there's 3 Matts, but I didn't know if it was like one Matt and then both of them said Matt, or like how many Matt. But the first Matt came through very, very loud and clear and was definitely on the box, and so it was very, very cool.
I was in my vehicle when I listened to that, and I always feel bad because when people send me things, often I'm like driving or I'm doing something, and I can't like immediately respond, especially like if I'm at work. I'll like run to the bathroom if I'm at court or something, and I'll listen to something like, no way. But I'm not going to be like in the stall at court being like, that EVP is freaking redonkulate, like, because I auto text. So I don't respond as quickly and as readily as I would like. But yes, Steve and Katie joining us in the chat room, very regular listeners. We love you guys, and they do some wild and amazing. And let's face it, if I was independently wealthy, I'd be wanting like a steampunk looking old school radio or something. I don't know. I'd want to collaborate with them on building a box. If you're not like April Slaughter, good friend of mine, and have the capability of having all the old school Frank's boxes, because he's no longer with us, and was built, wires and crystals and all sorts of things. It's really amazing to me to see people rehacking old radios and wiring things into a space that it's scanning the bandwidth and allowing you to have your own spirit box, or ITC, transdimensional communication, whatever the anagram stands for, and picking up EVPs. And Steve and Katie pick them up.
Yes, they do.
Calling Matt's name.
Really cool stuff.
Calling your name, Matt. Does that make you nervous or scared?
Nah. You got to remember, I get all the we don't share them on these, and I don't really do it on my other show either. But I get all the F you, Matt, Matthew Slozer, we hate you. All that. Go to hell. Yeah. So I'm used to creepy. I'm used to getting creepy stuff and hate. So
I usually get. I mean, I will say, and what's interesting about this, I used to really enjoy and still enjoy working with people when I get the opportunity, like you, Matt, or whomever. I usually get really personal EVPs, things that are like, Sarah Beth, like it's like calling my entire name, talking about something I was doing. Yeah, pretty crazy. And as Katie says, she's used to the abuse. It's horror movies, I think, do share some interesting perspectives on that, like the likely stuff you're dealing with. It seems like it's always frustrated, or it's always, I don't know, maybe it's just my experiences, but it's not like There's angels and turkey legs everywhere. Like, I've never heard a lot of that. Usually it's like, I'm right here. And of course, that's not scary just on its own, but kind of scary. So anyway, guys, this is a really crazy week ahead in astrology. If you guys have been joining us for the years that we've been doing this, that's crazy. You know, go get a piece of paper. Un feuille de papier. Run, underlay. Get the paper. If you're like me, you have an Excel spreadsheet. If you're like Matt, you're winging it by the seat of your tail pants.
Which I'm going to call out. It just clicked a couple days ago. I said that Friday was going to be this brief opening for reconciliation, and we said that I try to make predictions, but it's always going to be things out of left field. And out of left field, it ended up being Saudi Arabia and Iran signing a peace agreement.
Isn't that amazing?
On Friday, yeah. And it was on Friday, and Friday was the big reconciliation opportunity. Now, do I think it's sincere? No, but that's a different story.
Well, and
it's still a seed planted.
Some of our themes, like you had shared with the peace treaties, some of the bombings, some, I don't know the words you can and can't say on YouTube anymore. So Odyssey, I know they're open for any kind of banter, but other places we have to be careful. We had shared volcano movements. I'm still with that. I'm still seeing that panning out. Still seeing some crazy stuff. We even talked about and had mentioned boundaries shifting and aggressive female energies and certain things. Just pretty cool stuff that pans out. So if you guys want to work on sharpening your intuition, get a piece of paper or share in the chat room. Write down what you think is going to be happening and panning out with these astrological movements. And then we get to see it actually pan out, which is really freaking cool, I think. Anyway, should we get into it?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So because we're starting one day later than usual, today's already hump day. It's already Wednesday. You guys, I'm not sure if you looked ahead or if you do follow us on social media. Today, the Sun, Neptune, Mercury, all aligned up in Pisces, up in that constellation of water. So a lot of emotional, fantastical communication, imagination, creation. It's like that old rap song, imagination, journaling, life, and the great frontier. Like just kind of a lot of fantasy and delusion. I don't know how it's affecting you, but a lot of water and Pisces energy. When you think of Pisces energy, Matt, even though I know the day's over, as far as like knowing that all of those planets and energies are still there for a little bit longer, what should we expect from some of that Pisces jam?
I always say it's Pisces is it's the last sign of the zodiac, so it's always kind of self-reflective. It's sacrificial, kind of deathbed perspective. So I view it as kind of taking one for the team, but there's also this kind of deceptive, or not being deceptive, but deceiving yourself energy, kind of that dreamy Neptune energy to it. So I take extra, I mean, it's kind of too late today, but I take extra steps to verify any of your things that are kind of coming through to you, to make sure you're not self-deceiving yourself or seeing things that you want to see. And then this is also an energy where people are a little more willing to give things up for the benefit of others.
Sacrifice. That sacrificial for the greater good, you know what? Whatever. But also, like, do I need to be prioritizing little things, groceries, this, that, smaller thing, when it could be a bigger fish to fry? There's just these little small things that we might be maneuvering about that are also going to affect us in a bigger way. It can be small things, medium things, big things. Emotions. I know that I watched my own like family members moving about, and emotions seemed more present than usual. Happiness, laughter, sadness, anger. You could see it or sense it a little bit more clearly. But then also you don't want to be like, what's wrong? And overinflate it.
Yeah.
So Thursday, you guys put a single dot on your piece of paper. Only one thing is happening Thursday. Boom. share that in the chat room so people get a little bit of a heads up. Right? Venus
I
enters.
just want to call out. I know this isn't this. I'm going off script here, but because we're getting close to a Pluto movement. Pluto entered Capricorn in right around the time of the Great Recession. And Pluto's getting ready to move into Aquarius like soon. I think it's still before the end of the month. And what have we had happening? What have we had happening the last couple of days? We got banks failing. Now there's something that happened with a bank in Switzerland. They're talking about financial contagion. It's like 2008 all over again, which I'm just going to call out again. Pluto's big, profound crap that doesn't give a shit. And so just watch for these big movements and things with Pluto getting ready to shift into Aquarius. I'm sorry. Venus in Taurus.
Venus and Taurus.
Taurus is stable and indulgent. Venus is Taurus is Venus's home sign, or vice versa. Venus is Taurus's home planet. So it's a comfortable spot here. It's this is again romantic energy and kind of the female romantic energy. This is so again, stable and indulgent. It's going to be indulging the senses. It's romantically, there's going to be a bit of stubbornness in this. This isn't a move where you want to try to get, I think I said this last week about some of the movements. This isn't a time where you want to try to broach some kind of romantic change with someone, because people are going to be pretty entrenched in their positions, but they're going to want to indulge. So it's kind of a romantic placement.
I think of stuck, that if you are, man, there's that old fable of the I have this and I've married the most beautiful princess in all the land, and she's just the greatest princess, and she's just the coolest, the best ever. And everyone is always going, gosh, you're just so lucky. She's the best. But eventually, the prince ends up cheating on her or something. And everyone's like, why have you done that? She's the best. And he invites everybody over to the castle and then locks the doors and throws a big party, and serves the best wine, the best grapes, the best food, the best everything. And on the first night, everyone's like, this is the coolest. And the second night, everyone's like, it's still cool. But by like the 8th or 9th night, people are like, can we get something different? He's like, what do you mean? It's the best beef in all the land, the best grapes there are, the best wine there ever was. You don't want it every night forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And they were like, oh, okay. And he unlocked the doors when they were able to see, of course, but this comparison is not fair. And that fable is a weird space. And this Venus in Taurus is a comfort. I'm not going to do different than what I know, because that is what I like.
I think this is an old movie, but I think it was like 9.5 weeks where they did like the blindfolding thing where they're feeding like different foods and stuff. That I think is like Venus and Taurus energy. I think one of them was blind. I think he blindfolded her and was giving her like strawberries and like hot peppers and like different stuff. And that's kind of it's that. Yeah, I always think of food with Taurus, and so.
Yeah, I do too. I think of like comfort foods. I think of flowers. I think of materialism. And for Venus too, knowing that that's all about desire. That's all about, romancing the self and others. This is tax time too. So when you had mentioned the word financial contagion, seeing that Thursday, these line up in a space, you've already got Uranus over there partying in Taurus. It has been for a while. So Venus and Uranus, that's like Winona Ryder and Sheriff in the Hawkins Sheriff. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever his name is.
I forget his name, but I know what you're
Sheriff
talking about.
Grady or whatever. And they're a weird pair, but that's how I see Venus, Taurus, and Uranus kind of coming together. Is like Venus is this wild Winona Ryder just doing whatever. And then Taurus is like that cold, stubborn, like routine, stuck in his ways kind of a space. And it works in a weird way. Mm-hmm. It really does, and can. So be open to that energy for those people using this for finances. Are people going to bail? Are people going to spend? there's enough people bailing and enough people spending that the chaos is kind of going to continue the path that it is already on. So it's almost like it's, how do I say that better, Matt?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Financially, the things aren't going to, they're going to continue to crash, but they're crashing in like you expect that. So people will have already kind of,
I gotcha,
moved around. I don't know. It's a weird space. It's a weird space. So for those people asking for money, keep in tune. Don't take too terrible high risks. Don't make any changes to what you already do.
But don't panic either.
Don't panic. Yeah, no hoarding, nothing like that.
Rich people get rich off other people's panic.
There's Friday. Oh my God, then there's Friday. Steph, Autumn, so many fun people joining us in the chat room. Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, Alfredo. I don't know. Am I reading that right? Alfredo? Emotional pain, and I'm thinking make decisions with intellectual marks based on emotions. People are sharing. Steph says, I also have the sun and Mars. I'm not sure if she's talking about herself or we're talking about what she's talking about in the chat, because I'm just looking in, so I deeply apologize on that. Autocorrect really does make for fun conversation, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Friday, you guys get ready. Friday. 2 big dots. Put 2 big dots on the piece of paper. First one. Put this in here. Friday. It's St. Patrick's Day. People are reporting leprechauns. People like presidents of countries and stuff. They are real. Get ready. Weird stuff's just starting. St. Patrick's Day, the first thing that's going to happen, Mars direct in Gemini, no longer retrograde. That's great.
So is it switching retrograde on Friday?
It's no longer retrograde. Mars had been, but everything's direct now. Everything is direct.
I was just going to say, because when the day it shifts, I always look for something. So if this isn't the day it changes, then it just is what it is. So Gemini is all about communication. I'm thinking Mercury. So Mars is action. Gemini is extroverted air. So it's talking. I always think it's kind of like debating which way do you go. There's a little bit of an indecisive element to it. I always think again, kind of path less traveled, which you're at the crossroads. Which way you're going to go? Since Mars is action, there'll probably be some movement in one of those 2 directions, but it's going to be very extroverted. So this is where you're going to hear a lot of people talking about decisions they want to make and then probably making it. So look for a lot of chatter on Friday, a lot of chatter about doing different things. And
that's scary.
Gemini's like one of those people, people that like, if they're going to make a decision, they need to like poll like 10 of their friends before they actually make a decision. That's kind of Gemini and Mars.
Nervous. I'm going to tell you why. When I had done the meditation for that movement specifically, I had put fear and trauma being at the forefront, hopefully all the better off for it, that we may have to face up to fears and question what it is we've been choosing to give our energy to at this stage in the journey, and to just be aware of all the different perspectives, all the different many faces, the wall of faces, and the like white noise. So to hear you say chatter makes me nervous.
Gotcha.
Makes me think of Whitley Strieber. Communion and like alien things. One more thing is going to happen.
I don't get, but maybe it's because I'm a Cap and Taurus and Libra. This one doesn't bother me because you're not going to get blindsided here. This is people are going to announce the whole freaking world what they're going to do. It's like the people on social media saying, I'm leaving social media. For it's you're not going to be blindsided by whatever the Mars and Gemini. Excuse me, I got to keep adjusting my foot here. Yeah. So I don't like getting blindsided. So even if you're going to do something I don't like, if I know ahead of time, I'll be prepped for it. So
I don't either. That Virgo in me is like, tell me all the things. And this is why also, like, in the chat room, we have all sorts of people joining us from all over the planet. And so if you have something different, let me know what you have. Let me know what you have in your report. I go through the Farmer's Almanac. I go through the Llewellyn journal that they have on their site. And I also look at it like myself as I try and practice my own like astrology graphing. I look at the movements of the planets on the today.astrology.us. But I'm also in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm also over here in America. So I just want to check in. If you have something entirely different, please let me know. Because if somebody were like, Sarah, you're doing this from 2024, I wouldn't be surprised. I've been thinking it's 2024 for the last week. So take that with what you will. One more thing happening on Friday, St. Patrick's Day. And this is why I get a little nervous. You'll see why, Matt. Here, let me put this in. Yeah. Friday night. Boom. Friday night. Venus and Taurus over there, chilling in the chill. Square Pluto in Capricorn. Really one of the last things.
I hate calling out your, because I know this is going to bug your Virgo nest. That's got to be trine, not square.
Oh, yeah. Let's fix it.
They're both Earth, so it's got to be trine. Because that'll totally change the conclusion.
Okay, there it is. Trine. Boom.
So we have again this kind of stable, indulgent romance, syncing with big, profound, impersonal change in kind of accomplishments. And so I see this as in the romantic space. I know I just said that don't expect big change in the romantic space, but I didn't know this was coming. So I see this as, particularly since Taurus is that kind of stable and indulgent, I always view this as romantically like stay-at-home vibes. So this could be, kind of romantic opportunities, stable and indulgent. And then also financially, actually, I know we had a little bit of gloom and doom in the chat. This is actually, I'd say, good energy financially. So this is big changes, but I would say changes and opportunities for folks to make money. So I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just saying, whatever you do, don't panic. Panic's always bad.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't panic. And this is me wanting to it's weird. It was almost like Jumanji just then. Like I felt my cards calling. Pull a tarot, pull a tarot, pull a tarot. This is my Del Toro tarot. Del Toro tarot. That's kind of fun to say. It's not the most illustrated deck. It's not like, but I like that it's smaller. It's a little bit smaller. And since I'm feeling that, I feel like the death card was calling me there. Like when people are like, oh no, the death card, people are going to die. It's like, no, I mean, yes, but no, like things are going to die. So that makes room. It's kind of like burning your crops to have better crops in the spring. They're already dead anyway. Katie says it's Pink Floyd vibes. Let's pull a card real quick for Friday night. What do you see and predict for the space in Friday?
Well, I predict, this is something you're not going to know. People are just going to know personally. I picture this. I see this as good. Oh no, what'd you get? The Hangman. That's my card. That's the one you always pick for me.
It is. That's why I kind of made that.
That has become my theme card when Sarah does readings and pulls cards for me. Anyway, so on the romantic side, obviously you're not going to publicly see this, but I think this is going to be good hookup energy for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And then financially, I think there's going to be a very good money making opportunity on Friday.
Money.
Something's going to shift positively financially that people are going to make some bucks.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this. Okay, that's good. That's good. Be sure you're not killing time, people. Be sure you're taking those big changes and that opportunity. Write that down. Wherever, whenever Pluto's energy is involved, it's always going to call you to dig deeper. It's always going to be something kind of big, something that you don't even really have to try to do. But if there is something speaking to you right now, as we're talking like this, please, please, please let us know, because that's kind of a big deal. All right.
Yeah. Well, not Capricorn. The Pluto's always big changes.
Always big changes.
When Pluto's involved.
Okay. I really always, and I say that I get nervous. I want to maybe use a better word. Much like because of Friday, big movements, big changes, a siphon, suddenly a hole, a death, a change, a gap, an opportunity, an open door, an open window. Saturday, dead-end, 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 dead-end. No big changes. No big movements.
That's very rare.
That's very rare. That doesn't happen very often. So when I see that, I'm like looking at my almanac, I'm looking at the calendar, and I'm like, really? Nothing's really moving? Nothing's really moving into a new space. It's all just kind of gently inching like a little inchworm, and nothing's really shifting after such a big night. That speaks.
I always feel like before or after a big storm, when everything gets like still, there's like an eeriness to it.
No big movements. Calm. Reflection. And I kind of just want to put that there because, okay, two things happen on Sunday that start reflecting some big change. And you start to pan out and go, oh, okay. So put 2 dots down for Sunday. And now again, think socially, psychologically. Sunday. What's happening on Sundays? I mean, church. Sunday after St. Patrick's Day, maybe a lot of confessions going on, a lot of Hail Marys. I mean, some baseball spring training. What's really going on? People are prepping for the solstice. Pagans, Wiccans everywhere getting ready. The week after a big change, people might have, that's it, I'm there! Burning the house down. Who knows what's going on? So this is Sunday before Monday, before the week starts. First dot. Boom. Sunday. Correct me. Now I'm nervous. Now the Virgo in me is like, before you say it out loud, let him read it and be like, yeah, that's right. That Jupiter is in Aries.
We usually don't do the semi-sextiles.
Hey.
It's all good. You're just throwing me for a curve here.
I am. And I put the numbers in this month. Usually I never do that either. But I really felt like the numerology, I felt like, gosh, I'm going to sound schizophrenic. I felt like voices were talking to me and that I needed to put the numbers in there.
All right. Well, these are a little bit of this is a weaker, so this is not as strong as kind of conjunct is kind of the strongest energy. And then kind of opposite, trine, square, sextiles, probably the weakest out of the ones that we talk about. Semi-sextile is weaker, but this is it's kind of a disjointed because you got fire and earth here, and you have Jupiter opportunity. Aries is impulsive action. So you have the opportunity to act, and having this kind of friction with Uranus being that rebellion and Taurus being stable and indulgent. So I view this as almost like a tug of war between opportunity and action and rebelling by not acting. So, here's a chance, you get to do A, and almost I feel like you're expected to do the action, and so there'll be an energy to be just like, screw it, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to do it. So, if that makes sense.
It does.
I feel like society will pull towards doing the action, and internally people will want to kind of rebel by saying, screw it, I'm not going to do it.
I always spell siphon wrong. That energy of like, if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to get that movement going, movement will happen elsewhere. If you're not going to move, things will still move. So what does this mean? I kind of have that little spot. Steph says she shared in the chat, she's really been looking at some dwarf planets, things like Lilith and some of the other small, and we had shared some dwarf planets last week too, for the first time first time sometimes ever, on some of them, Juno and things like that. I think that all of these little things, just because we're having huge life changes, the smaller little like, whoa, where and how exactly? When I think of Aries energy, that's fire. And when I think Uranus and Taurus over there with Venus and they're kind of chilling out, cool. Aries is hot.
And I view, this is just world according to Matt, but the fixed stars and the kind of the asteroids or dwarf planets, I view that as, I don't know if anybody remembers this. If you ever had to do like in science class, the microscopes, you have like the coarse focus, and then you have like the fine adjustments.
Yeah.
Like the big planets and the big energies are the big things that you can see like on a big, and then these other ones, these smaller angles, and then some of these other smaller, those are like the fine tuning type things. So it's really great when you have these other things kind of down and have it all down, like particularly like in your own chart. If you kind of know like the main things, that's like the next step and the next level to kind of look at some of the finer points as to what's going on.
Man, this is kind of an exciting weekend, and seeing people share in the chat room what they think is going to go down. I would agree, Matt, which is, again, another reason, shameless plug. You guys, if you want a birth chart reading, please reach out. Please let us help you do that. Come on. Get a gift for yourself and invest a little bit. Got a tax return? Go on. Because I think it's fun to be able to look at the breakdown of all of those little movements. I know for me personally, when I'm like, what in the hell is going on? I can go, oh, yeah. Makes you feel a little less crazy, which is always nice. That's always nice. What's the second thing happening on Sunday, Sarah? Sunday night.
Mercury in Aries.
Enters Aries.
Assertive communication. Check your texts. This is Sunday night. Check for Sunday evening. Check your texts, your emails. People are going to start being very forward and direct in communication. And I always look for, it's one thing when it's in the sign and you have that energy building. I always look for things to change when it makes that flip. So the fact that it's actually transitioning, that's where I feel like, people all of a sudden become more assertive. So I look for changes. So, direct communication from people that you haven't been hearing from, or maybe a little bit out of character, that's like key information. Steph says she has it early Sunday morning.
And it goes into Aries?
Yeah.
I think I have it at like, man, I was going to tell you how early or late things are, like around 8 or 9. Does it matter? I mean, it does if you're someone who's really watching things specifically. I recently invested in a few other spheres, so that I would like to have a thing laid out with my planets that I can move them around and see them because I'm more of a visual person. Mercury, the planet of communication. These are your emails, like you said, text messages. If there's been that somebody, someone, coworker, peer, opportunity email, for me, it's going to be my college, hearing back about licensure, about acceptance letters, grants, promotions, the attorney, the tax return. But it's a Sunday. What specifically do you feel like happens in Aries, maybe more than any other sign? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Oh yes. So, but all to be clear, this is probably the on my chart the sign that I probably sync with the least. So take that for what it is when you say what my impression is on it. Not thought through. It's impulsive action. So Aries season, I look for people to do things without necessarily thinking first. They just act. And so since it's in Mars, or since it's Mercury here, it's going to be people are going to speak before. It's like firing off that email, firing off that text, and then maybe 15 minutes later being like, oh, crap, should I have said that? So give my old advice I gave, I think, when we first started this show, sit on it a night.
Give yourself the opportunity to let it marinate. Oh, we're doing Freudian slips.
A little harder if it's direct, if you're actually on the phone or in person, but you're going to see that too.
How do you appease a fire and keep it from spreading? Have boundaries, have guards, minimize the air, keep the mouth shut.
See, it's funny. I saw a meme where this was on here where they were talking about like what the I think it was almost like what like the kryptonite was to things and stuff, and it was like Capricorn. They just had other things. It was situations, and oh no, it was a balloon and a needle, and it was all these different things for the signs. But then for Capricorn, it was like great plan and strategy, and then the needle was like Aries, and that's kind of that's why I kind of Caps will be designing this whole thing of like how to storm the beaches of Normandy, and it'll all be getting set up, and Aries will just like shoot right through and. Okay, we're not doing the plan because they're out there running around already. So okay, let's go.
Get it. And I love it. I love so many of you guys joining us in the chat room, sharing that like you enjoy joining us each week and writing this out and seeing how these predictions play out, and not only just understanding the basics, but then seeing how it applies to you, it applies to your loved ones, but it applies to society too. For me, I work in social services, so I can see it for myself each morning. I see it for my family members if I'm parenting or caregiving. Then I take it to work and I think, okay, like for example, Fridays are Fridays, St. Patrick's Days are St. Patrick's Days. But I already also kind of expect and know how the energy is going to pan out because of the astrology. And every little influence can just be an added ingredient. So those dwarf planets, those asteroids, those things don't have to be included. Like you don't have to put salt, pepper, and cilantro in your guacamole, but you can also, and it changes it up. So it's really cool to see how those of you joining us more advanced and some of you more basic use these energies and share with us in the chat how they work out for you. Monday, only one thing. I only have one thing written down for Monday. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, I would say it's kind of a big deal. And that is the beginning of the equinox for those people out there partying, getting their maypoles all prepped, whatever it is that you're going to be out doing. For the equinox, planting your seeds, spitting on the seeds and putting them in their little holes, getting ready, prepping for the week as it begins. Monday. The sun enters Aries. More fire.
So now we're in Aries season. The new astrological year kicks off, and again, look for impulsive, assertive. Just going to act, not necessarily going to think stuff through. A lot of action on Monday. Just look, people will be acting.
Acting, the official new year, when people are like, it's the new year. No, it's not. It's January 1st. No, it's not. It's Monday, March 20th. This is that shift of the season. I always think of Charlotte's Web. Mother and Father Time. Something you kind of feel mirroring. I think a lot of midlife crises happen. Women shifting into menopause. The spring changes. The spring birds, chicka, 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 cheeseburger, outside, making their little noises. You find yourself kind of balancing and aligning, waking up, shedding your skins. And I think about that. So don't get crazy, reptilian conspiracy theorists. Shedding skin. Acting. Okay. We're seeing some of these themes. Ritual suggestions, maybe. What is in bloom? Fruiting. What is it that you are transforming? What are you planting? What do you think that this is going to be for Monday news, politics?
Well, trying to stay neutral here because I feel like my biases are creeping in. So I'm going to just think of people that are not known for or are known for being very off the cuff and not necessarily thinking through things, what they say and what they do. And I think you're going to hear some of that be said on Sunday and then more things be acted on Monday. So kind of the usual suspects, the one that's like, these people really should have a handler or, somebody to manage their social media, or they really should stick to their speech scripts and not go off script. And so it's going to be that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what.
And then since it's the sun, I feel like either an action is going to be proposed or somebody's also going to do something that's going to be like, why the hell did they do that?
Who?
Well, for me, I always go to the same impulsive, like,
You think it's going to be Trump?
Trump's like wildly impulsive.
I know.
I always think, I know he's a Gemini, but I always think Leo more than Aries, but there's an Aries element to his, I'm sure I have to look at his chart at some point. I'm sure he's got Aries stuff in there.
So you're thinking Trump.
Then the usual, they've been in the news a lot lately. Taylor Green and Bobo, those the usual suspects that seem to throw stuff out there with. It's one of two things. They either are really calculating and know they're going to throw something crazy out there because it'll stir things up, or they just spout stuff out and don't think things through. No, I don't see. I know Steph. I don't see Biden as necessarily a Aries type guy. If anything, he'll be stumbling over words and stuff. But he's not a.
Yeah, no, he's not.
But I'll even say DeSantis. He kind of went off script this couple days ago, and now he's like painted himself in a corner because he's like flip flopped on a couple things.
Right.
And I go that again to kind of heat of the moment, maybe not thinking things through and just saying something. So I would normally not. I wouldn't peg I don't peg him as like an Aries type, impulsive type, but there's a case where somebody that normally isn't kind of painted themselves into a corner. So that could happen too.
It's so exciting. It actually makes me, and you guys, think about that. How often do you get excited to even listen to the news anymore? But I really do, because we make these predictions. We see the way the dominoes fold. It really gives me a sense of like, wow. And keep in mind, the bigger star map is really reflecting a lot of what we were seeing in 2008. If you go back, if you're old enough to have even been present in that space and politically aware, a lot of ripples that are so similar. It's like walking through a museum and being like, wait a minute, is this a Monet? It like looks exactly the same. It's like deja vu, real wild. So Tuesday rolls around. It's going to be the end of the astrological week for us as we do it here on the show for Astrology and Alchemy. It'll be Tuesday. You guys will be joining us next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. for the week. And again, March is full of adventure. And Tuesday. Now, Rebel in the chat room Had to put in there some pretty crazy stuff that I think is going to be important for par for the course. Gaffs, Putin pinging China, Australia, some stuff, ships, submarines. Yes. EPA going to clean out drinking water, cutting back all wild, Dolly. It gets crazy, wild, weird. So let's talk about that. But first, let's finish strong. Tuesday, 2 big things happen. Put 2 big dots on that piece of paper, y'all. First thing is this. Jupiter in Aries. We knew it. Yep. 35 degrees. Semi-square. What? Another semi? Well, we wanted to mention it. Saturn. That 35 degrees. I don't know. Those numbers were really speaking to me in Pisces. Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Pisces. Saturn moved out of Aquarius recently, guys. So anytime that there's this movement happening, it's an executive order. It's a mandate. Anytime Saturn is shifting and it's emotional, is it going to be a gun law? What's it going to be? What's the ban going to be?
It is opportunity, but remember this is a weak aspect. So I don't think this is going to be like a major law change or something. But this is I would say a take one for the team rule change, an impulsive opportunity to do that. So look for some impulsive knee-jerk reaction to something. But because of the energies on this one, I don't think it's going to be like a major earth-shattering law or something. Now, I saw some people were talking about. I missed some of the chat things about Putin. I actually think look for Putin to possibly go down again. Look for that Pluto when Pluto shifts to Aquarius. That's when, and I know that's coming up. I think it's before the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. It is
when that happens. Look for. But what's interesting is it's going to go to Aquarius and it's going to shift back into Capricorn. So you're going to have like a big change. It's going to be like a teaser of the big change that's going to come. And then it's going to snap back, I think, kind of harshly. And then it's going to flip again.
Yeah. You guys, man, this is so exciting. And I get excited. My brain starts exploding like firecrackers. If you're good at statistics, if you have one of those memories, you can go back. Or if you journal, or if you got Facebook memories and know how to use it. July 21st, 2022. September 21st, 2022. Go back and look at the headlines. Go back and see what was happening on that day in your life. July 21st, September 21st. Do you remember? It's going to ripple again. Tuesday morning. Extension, frustration, a change, a shift, a pinch in that area specifically. And then the last thing to happen, and we'll close out the show in kind of a really strong energy. Tuesday afternoon, guys. Taco Tuesday. Boom. New moon. Go get your candles, witches. New moon in Aries. 49. Spring begins. Technically.
So I was going to add really quick because I looked it up just to see what energy, since we were talking about, Biden versus Trump, and Biden is a Scorpio, which I could actually see that. That is, not what you see isn't necessarily what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
With an ascendant in Sagittarius, which is pretty interesting too. That is, again, I think kind of impulsive action, not as bad as Aries, but let's try new crap and see, let's see what happens. And so I think that kind of hits again, this kind of, we'll just do things differently and again, kind of not think things through. And he shares my moon. He's got a Taurus moon, but that's more inside stuff. All right. So Aries, new moon. So this starts the cycle of Libra, which is all going to be about balance, diplomacy, moving things forward through soft power. The new moon is what do you need to change to move things in soft power? So since we were talking political things, I would look on the diplomatic stage and look for anything that is a potential overture for one country to another. Because this is a diplomatic cycle.
I like soft power. That's a great suggestion. I think for the new moon, magnetic, I put the ritual suggestion to be magnetic power, laws of attraction, being open to receive some of that vacancy, that void, that soft power, that siphon energy that you just gently pull, and then the rest just does what it does. You know, the next new moon next month, April, is going to be a solar eclipse in Aries. So this is going to be a theme that starts this Tuesday, next Tuesday, for soft power, magical energy, setting desires and intentions for self to bring that diplomacy in your life. The new beginnings that need to come for you to achieve what it is that you need for constructive change. So what are those things? And then what are those things nationally, politically, on a bigger scale? What do you think?
I'm looking for diplomatic overtures on Tuesday.
Diplomatic overtures. Okay.
You know, that thing on Friday with Saudi Arabia and Iran really kind of shook things up. That kind of came out of left field and caught some people off guard. So some different.
And people in the chat room going, these are portals. These are portals of Neptune, conjunct, opening, dreams, ideas, exciting things. They are. Take action, guys. If you're feeling that pull to do something, allow yourself to follow it, but be aware, be cautious, be skeptical. Don't fall into a fire pit like Aries often has us doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So, you guys, be sure and check us out on all of our social media sites. Be sure and reach out and get a reading if you'd like a personal breakdown of your birth chart or insight into things happening to your life, even if it's a mini reading and you're like, all I got's $30, but I want something. Reach out. Reach out. Touch faith. We'd like to hear from you. At the very least, join us next Tuesday, every Tuesday, Astrology and Alchemy with Matt and Sarah. And you guys, if you're joining us on YouTube, be sure to, again, follow us on whether it's Paranormal Sarah or go to Odyssey Radio, go to Astrology and Alchemy on Facebook, the Astrology Moon, all the places. Matt, I'm putting them all in there. I'm doing it all. Let's do it. And then anything else? What am I missing?
I think you got it. Definitely your website, paranormalsarah.com, Sunday Night Dead on Facebook. Yeah. You can email me at mslozer@yahoo.
Yes. And we really enjoy having you guys. We really enjoy seeing you each week in the chat room joining us. So we don't want to miss out on that opportunity as people grow and change and go their separate ways of things with the Paranormal Channel or with anything on YouTube for censorship and just the way politics are going with social media. It's always really great to consolidate and follow us everywhere you can so that if something drops off the planet, we don't miss each other because we would miss seeing you. So next week, guys, we hope to see you and a friend. Join us. We'll see you then every Tuesday here on Astrology and Alchemy.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody. Oh, I got to get to our little video. Sorry, guys. I'm like totally not. All right. See you guys.